and the North American Sweethearts bring it home under the banner of Cognitive Pride.
No one thought had a chance at the finals coming into this event. Coming as the number 2 seed. Down, ripping through, Titan, down, falls 3, a double kill for himself, it's a 5-man-1, they're gonna go for the win, the world champions, Cognitive Pride, GG!
Season 2, we say hello to Europe as Adapting and Epsilon Esports slam it home.
A huge play, Adapting's about to go up, he's gonna come crashing down, who's the target? It's gonna be all 3, and 2 will get stunned out.
Oh no.
He's taking tons of damage.
Oh no.
Chaos forced to move forward.
They don't have enough time for this. They don't have enough time for this.
No, it's a deicide. Ladies and gentlemen, Epsilon Esports.
Season 3, new name, same roster. 2-time world champions, Rapper and NRG.
Well, there's 4 members left, and into the sky goes Adapting. The ultimate's way down. The Titan is under siege. Energy are looking to be world champions again. Long live the King! And once again, the King is Europe.
Season 4, Polar Bear Mike brings it back for America. E-United slams the hammer.
Cracking and knocked back. There's Deathwalker controlling things. Panda Cat takes that Wolfie. Where's the remainder of the team fight?
Deathwalker falls to Benadu, and E-United keeps on going because Panda Cat
That's 2! Still pushing forward. They're at the Titan. Only 2 members to play defense.
They can't do it!
And that's the game. That's the series. That is your Smite World Championship. Say hello to your North American victors, Polar Bear Mike and E-United.
Season 5, new map, new players, new teams, same destination. Who raises Thor's hammer? The Smite Pro League.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the final day of the HRX placements. Finch here joined by J-Mac and Anatoly. The excitement, the tension in the building is palpable right now. There's no more math, no more scenarios. You just gotta win or you go home.
There's going to be the double elimination brackets here coming to a conclusion today. Starting things off with mousesports up against Trifecta. Both teams pulling it through yesterday in epic sets.
And not only that, we're going to have Space Station Gaming and Insignum, another elimination set. Winner moves on to Worlds, loser goes home.
That's right. On Insignum, we had essentially a sub, someone who can't have been expecting to play, showing up and absolutely just showing out in that game. I mean, a really impressive performance. It's been a week all the way through that I would say just full of action, full of upsets and things that you might not have expected here so far. I mean, totally. I mean, has anything stood out to you particularly just from this week? Anything that you just weren't expecting?
Every day was just something to be desired, right? The way Insignum was able to take over Trifecta. Luminosity struggling against Nocturnes to start things off. The Obey versus Mouse set, pulling back through the the triple Guardian double Hunter composition, going back to their Season 4 Elevate days. Who knows what's to come for Day 5?
I mean, the thing that I think all of us are sitting here wondering is, we're on day number 6 and we're still talking about the minor league teams. Who would have ever expected minor league to still be here on day number 6? And not only that, with their coach subbing in for them with the performance he had last night. I mean, this is just an insane week of play, and we're going to see some really high-end Smite today.
No, it's been ridiculous. Very few people predicted it. We had the bracket tournament that's been running this whole time, and really no one up to this point was able to imagine that it would have gone this way. But if you were missing out on what happened yesterday, if you want to get a bit of a recap on that, take a look. There was a ton of action.
Yesterday, the penultimate day of HRX placements. We crowned 2 people going to DreamHack. Here's how it all broke down. Match number 1, Obey Alliance takes on Mouse. It stretches all 3 games, but Obey and Papa Prime come through in the clutch to take the victory. Mouse gets knocked down. Obey, we'll see you at DreamHack. Match 2, Team Rival takes on Space Station Gaming. SSG come equipped with a new coach, European World Champion, Dimmy. Is it enough? The answer is no. Rival come through in 2 easy games. The North Americans are kicked down, We'll have to see how the Sex Tank does today. Match 3, Trifecta versus Counterlogic Gaming. This one went the distance. Both teams really came to play, but at the end of the day, SPL stands for Sam Paul League. Trifecta move on, CLG. We'll see you next year. The last match of the day might have been the most storied match of the day. North American minor league representatives Cope Baby and Armada go head-to-head against Lasbra and most of his team. Suspended that morning, support player Genetics could not play in the match, and instead, Coach Cassier had to fill his shoes. An unranked player. This is the guy that brings the playbook, and today he brought the plays. Coach Cassier filled the shoes. It took 3 games, but Insignum come out on top, and Armada will be left at home.
The kind of storylines you just can't make up, apparently, unless you're Hindu Man who has the script. But remember, everyone right now trying to fight their way towards DreamHack Atlanta. Everyone was able to come here to these HRX placement stages, but this is the big boy stage, November 16th through 18th. You can go grab your tickets right now at hi-rezexpo.com. And it's not just Smite PC, Smite Console's there, Paladins Console. You absolutely don't want to miss a moment.
And there's other esports as well, and with 4 spots open, 2 of them already secured between Rival and Obey Alliance. 2 more remain. Hard to tell which teams are going to qualify now.
It's going to be a hard-fought battle between Mouse, Trifecta, SSG, and Insignum to get those last 2 spots remaining. They're going to be our first 2 sets of the day, so we'll be able to see who our world qualifiers are early on. That doesn't mean you need to skip out on these because those final matchups are going to be massive.
No, there's nothing that I think that you could afford to try and skip out on today, so make sure you got your snacks, whatever it is, ready for you right away because there's going to be no missed matches here happening today. Let's take a look at the bracket. That way we can see where all the teams are already standing out. Right now, we have 6 teams that are still in this tournament, and as you said, there's only 4 spots. Somebody's got to go home still, and it's not going to be easy for those teams that do have to leave. Obey and Rival are already through. They're at the end of the winners finals, and remember, the lower bracket will not be coming back up. They'll be playing there for seeding, but the lower bracket is the one that really, I think, has all the action today. Mouse and Trifecta, Space Station and Insignum, they'll go down to that losers final, and once they do, or once they're there, they've already qualified to DreamHack.
That's right, Mouse dropping to Obey Alliance. Trifecta being able to take on CLG and winning that matchup in a very epic best-of-3. Space Station struggled heavily, I would say, against Rival yesterday, but this European team Insignum, not the same kind of caliber, but definitely surprising a lot of fans at home, I'd say.
Not only that, I mean, the matchup between CLG and Trifecta is definitely one to write into the books there. An insane defense by Hurrywin, but moving on to the schedule today, you can just see exactly what the order play will be. It will be that Mouse and Trifecta for the first one up.
And then Space Station and Insignum. Remember, the match at the end of day is going to be the winners of those loser bracket games, the Mouse, Trifecta, Space Station, and Insignum sets. They'll be matching up. And again, those bottom 2 are just sort of just to decide who they're going to be playing at. Because remember, 4 teams are already at DreamHack Atlanta, right? Splice, E United, Energy. They're all already there, Dignitas, and waiting on their opponents to come through. So it's certainly going to be, it's certainly important how you ended up seated in there and which match you get. But I mean, honestly, totally, there's no easy match there waiting on you.
Definitely not, especially in this first one. mousesports up against Trifecta. When I look at this specific matchup, I'm looking at the dueling. I'm looking at both Zapman and Dardez and how they're going to be able to kind of transition into the early game because both of these hunters, with their supports, are looking to play aggressive.
I think Zapman tweeted out this morning how he used to try and get into Dardez's games to match up against him, but now they're going to be playing against each other on the big stage. I mean, there's a lot of history between these players and between these teams.
And Trifecta just barely able to make it here. You know, they had to make that stalwart Phoenix defense to earn it. So it's hard to know exactly what their mental state is right now after that kind of a match. But Neil is standing by. We got an interview with him, so hopefully we'll get a glimpse into how that team's feeling.
Here with Trifecta's support player, NeiruMah. And Neil, after a close call yesterday, what are some of your thoughts and feelings coming into today's set against Mouse?
I think it's going to be a close game. Hard to tell. I haven't really ever played any of these guys before, so that'll be a lot of fun. But mostly, I think we're not really nervous. We're here to have fun, and obviously, just being able to play First Shot Worlds is really exciting. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's basically considered one of your guys' final obstacles coming into this matchup. But how do you feel the LAN meta has transitioned?
It's hard to say. I mean, we're not really as worried about other teams and what they pick as much as we just need to find something we're comfortable with and have our game plan. there are some picks here and there that we'll target, and we found that maybe some of the gods that were permabanned might not need to be banned anymore, and you just need to get rid of the things that make you uncomfortable and just find your own little niche in your own comfort zone and make sure that you can play to your own strengths.
Speaking of the picks and bans, can we expect to see anything pretty spicy from Trifecta today?
Can't count anything out, you know. We might play something spicy, but only if it makes sense. We'll see.
Well, looking forward to see what you guys have in store, but thank you so much for your time and good luck in your set today. Back to you guys on the desk.
Always good to get to hear from Neil, and it looks like Trifecta are in good spirits. And I suppose if you come out of a set like they did, then there's no reason not to be, right? It can feel sort of like you've already been to the brink and back. Now they just have one more opponent standing in front of them, and this is a team of 5 guys that I think absolutely can get it done.
I mean, if you looked at their Twitter, actually, you could see Zapman even tweeting him dancing before the game, so you could tell he's certainly feeling himself and feeling themselves as Sam and Paul being able to really make the plays for Trifecta.
I think what Neil said was very important in that interview, not necessarily banning the perma-ban gods anymore, because this is one of the few sets where we did not see Mercury touched at all between these two teams. He was just kind of left up into the wings. Instead, we saw a lot more Pele, who has kind of been on the back and forth of do we pick her, do we ban her? Let's just kind of leave her alone here. So if we're going to see anything kind of strange, I think it is going to be between these two teams, because we did see Mouse bring a little bit of fun yesterday.
And I think a lot of that also came down to like Odin being a little more popular, so Mercury goes on the decline.
That is certainly possible, right? Those decages he's able to put down really cuts off the path. I'm all for playing your own game, but I feel like Mercury could probably fit in there most of the times. But you're right, the Odin might have been a bit of a problem. On the other side, though, Mouse are the ones who had to try and get prepared, carrying the flag for EU. There's been a lot of pressure on this team. And to get an idea about where their mental state is, SmiteVOD is standing by for his interview.
Now I'm here with Mouse's coach, SmiteVOD, and first things first, SmiteVOD, you guys got a chance to see Trifecta come so close to nearly losing that set yesterday. So what are some of the team's thoughts about having watched that match through?
We think they looked a little bit shaky throughout the whole placement tournament, and we think they tried to play a lot around their mid-jungle, Paul and Sam. So I think BigMan and Frosty can handle that, I think, so it should be fine.
Is that where I think the direction shift is going to be headed, is mostly towards FrostiaK and BigMan, or do you guys have some other things up your sleeve?
I think usually with this like roster, Frosty's usually the one that sort of controls the pace of the game, so he's looking for invades or ganks. So it's probably going to be that mid jungle, yeah.
And as the coach, what do you feel like your best contribution to this Mouse roster has been so far this LAN?
I sort of tried to help with drafts. And I'm trying to keep them in mentally. If they get too tilted, I try and sort of hone them in.
Well, that's always a really important aspect to keep in mind. But good luck coaching your team through this set, and good luck to the guys on their matchup against Trifecta. Back to you guys on the desk.
I think SmiteVOD is exactly right. Sam and Paul are really the ones to watch out for in Trifecta, and that does mean that there's a lot of pressure on FrostiaK and BigManTingz in particular to make sure that they perform here in this set. And FrostiaK really has shown up for my money. I mean, he's a new member to this team, but he does not look it.
A new player to the team, but not a new player to the Smite Pro League caliber, being able to play in Team Dignitas back in Season 2 and even a little bit in Season 3. He's had the experience necessary, but I think he's definitely pulled like a Dragon Ball Z, where he's like kind of hibernated, right? Was training in the background in the darkness, and now he's coming out in full force. A lot of high mechanics plays coming out of him, especially when he gets the Susanoo.
And not only that, we saw some of the a little more out there stuff we haven't seen in a while, like the Kabrakan jungle. That has kind of been on the back foot for a very long time, bringing that out yesterday. Had a very strong performance. Didn't quite succeed for them, but he had a phenomenal game on it.
And that was against Obey Alliance, the way he was trying to pull that through. It's taken a page out of Cherryo's book, the former jungler out of mousesports, going into that support position. Just goes to show that despite switching some players around in those roles, they're still trying to keep that same identity, and they were showing a little bit of that double hunter yesterday. I'll be surprised to see if they try to do it again today.
Yeah, it's very vintage Elevate, really, right? Vintage mousesports, and they go back to that double hunter strategy, and certainly one that could be strong here. But Sam versus FrostiaK, this is the key matchup as you move into the picks and bans. What's going to be the impact between these two junglers? Is FrostiaK, as you heard SmiteVOD saying, going to be able to dictate the pace of the game, or is Sam FrostiaK going to be able to slow him down in the jungle? I feel like those are sort of the key questions, because that'll trickle down to Tingz and Paul, the other two who I think that you got to keep your eye on.
If SmiteVOD did his homework, I think that he should be looking at the Pele performance performance from Sanford Soccer and think about maybe not allowing that one to go through. And as I say that right off the bat, they're really respecting Sanford Soccer's capabilities.
And to be respected for it, the mid-Phoenix push up on that top side was really where Sam showed his breakout onto this Pele, flanking around the backside. Normally, Pele's kind of that right up in your face, kill your carry and be out, but he snuck around the back, took down Hurrywin, forced to not be able to use that Nox ultimate in the team fight, and that's kind of what ultimately led to the victory there for Trifecta.
Freya already first picked here by Trifecta since they banned out the Odin and the Fenrir. Erlong banned as well. So that left Mercury as one of the highest value junglers left. But what a great response from Mouse, right? The Jingwei matchup into the Freya, we've already talked at length about how advantageous that is for her, and Mercury about as good as you can get right now.
And with Mercury being locked in, that means it's going to be a glass cannon build coming out of that character. So not going to expect to see another physical hunter from mousesports. Probably going to lean on more traditional mage.
Traditional mages for BigManTingz. Really, I'm looking at probably Discordia as one of the top ones for him. Works really well for him as well. I mean, there's Agni. There's so many different burst mid laners that you can pick up for this team.
I'm also thinking of Raijin because it kills two birds with one stone. Number one, BigManTingz can play it very well. And number two, you're taking it out of the hands of Paul that had a phenomenal game up against CLG yesterday.
That's a good point. Anything to try and slow Paul down could certainly be strong, but he's also shown there's a lot of flex there. It's hard to know what he could play. But I mean, this Mouse team, and BigManTingz in particular, he's played so well. I think he might have played the best out of anyone on Mouse this tournament. So consistently well, so well positioned, so safe in the fights, but always getting off all his damage as well.
And if I'm Paul and Trifecta, what I'm trying to do here is avoid the Freya versus Jingwei matchup up against Dardez in the duel lane, and I'm going to allow Paul to play the Freya in the mid lane, and maybe force BigManTingz to play this Jingwei to counter that matchup, so that way Dardez would have to play either a double physical hunter composition or go for a mage in that duel lane, trying to balance their damage around.
Well, I think with this Xbalanque locking her from Trifecta, this is definitely going to be Freya's Paul in the mid lane, so we don't have to worry really much about that Jingwei matchup. I don't think that they're going to be throwing that there, as the Discordia is locked in as well. This is 100% going to BigManTingz in the mid lane. I highly doubt we'll see that go into a support role. We've seen it before, but most likely going over to BigMan.
If it was Dardez still playing support for Mouse, I could see Discordia being played, but not this time around. I think Cherryo is more comfortable on the Guardians as opposed to the Mages. But speaking of Guardians, Artio locked in for Trifecta's NeiruMah allows more aggression for the duel lane from Trifecta. However, Xbalanque takes a little bit of time to get his passive rolling.
He can certainly take some time, but that's kind of what I wanted to ask you, Totally. I mean, you mentioned the ambiguity of the Freya and how you'd likely want to put it at mid to get away from the Jingwei. Do you have to pick your physical hunter this soon? And maybe you can even try and get Mouse to waste some bans.
I definitely think you don't have to put your physical hunter this soon, but maybe they're worried about revealing something else, right? Like looking at the picks for Trifecta, they still need their solo laner and their jungler. Artio could technically still go solo lane, but with how often NeiruMah has been playing this Artio, I'm expecting it to go there. So that leads me to believe that they don't want to reveal their jungler now. Let Mouse ban away some of those picks and still go for a pocket pick.
And honestly, I'd like to have this Artio in the dual lane with the Xbalanque because we mentioned he has the lower clearing capability. Artio is really able to help kind of push that, be a bit more aggressive, be more in their face, push them back, and allow him to just safely clear out that wave in the early stages.
Sobek, about as staple a pick as you can ask for, can fit into just about any draft. And I really like that Kuzenbo band coming out from Trifecta as well. He has been a true nuisance. Any game that he's in, it feels like it really makes it impossible for the carries to do anything. So get that guy out of there. Yeah, you got to deal with Sobek, but somehow that's probably not as bad.
That's very true.
Somehow.
From one reptile to another. And if anyone knows the true power of the Kuzenbo, it's that man on your screen right there. NeiruMah loves this god, knows the true powers, doesn't want to deal with it.
And not only that, you have a Mercury and a Jingwei who are going to want to most likely build into more crit, and Kuzenbo works fantastic against gods who want to get that crit online, have that big burst damage. So with those three gods already locked in for Mouse, it's no surprise seeing that Trifecta want to get that away so that way you don't have to deal with it on the other side, because Freya and Xbalanque, they hurt even more.
A ton of team fighting presence added by Trifecta in these last two picks. Terra with the Earth and Fury, and Bots with the Fear No Evil, and they already have the Xbalanque Darkest of Nights ultimate. This is starting to look like a team that when they're grouped up, it is very difficult to fight into.
The control is certainly there for Trifecta.
Oh, yeah.
Artio Terra combination, and then insert additional ones here, right? On Bats is going to be impactful, but you look at what control on one side, you have to consider the control on the other, as Ares is the second guardian of choice for mousesports. That no escape is going to really start hurting Trifecta, because if you think about it, Xbalanque needs to get the second part of his dash for the CC immunity. Ardeo and Terra don't have CC immunity, so they might have to consider beads just to prevent getting pulled in.
And not only that, Humbats doesn't have beads as well, or a any kind of a CC immunity into his kit, so he's going to have to get those purification beads. Even I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe 3 or possibly 4 Magi's Cloaks picked up on this Trifecta squad.
Yeah, this is a great last pick Ares from Mouse. I think they very much recognize that Trifecta largely don't have a way out of here. I think this Freya probably won't have that many struggles, but we've already said that's going to the duo, or probably going to the mid lane, right, to try and get away from the Jingwei. So this Xbalanque, not just with the no escape, but even the chains to stop the Rising Jaguar, very likely could be some struggles for Zap.
We were alluding to how aggressive both of these hunters are with their Guardians, and already between the Ares and the Ardeo on both sides of the battlefield, this is going to be a bloodfest. They're going to need to pick up a lot of potions to start off the game.
I mean, typically we have seen the Ardeo start out with their dash at that first level. Sometimes you can flop over with the cone on their 1 as well, but with this Ares, I mean, this is going to be a tough little matchup here into this duo lane.
It absolutely will be. This is the first game. What a way to get things started off. Trifecta and Mouse, they left it all on the table here in these drafts. We're going to have a huge clash on the battleground of the gods. So let's get it over to Hindu Man, Tom, and Aggro for the cast.
Thank you so much, John Finch, and the analyst desk as well. Here we go. Doug will be on the camera for you guys at home too, just to let you know, the man with the plan and all the cam. After Aggro, this is one that I'm expecting to go the way of Mouse. Are you?
It's interesting. I think that Mouse have certainly presented themselves as a strong team, and they've really stood up here in HRX placements. But Trifecta have had standout individuals, and I think that's the whole conversation here. Mouse is a unit. Trifecta, can Sam and Paul rise up?
And they've got their work cut out for them because, for my estimation, Mouse's 2 best players so far this week have been FrostiaK and BigManTingz. So it's really the strength versus strength matchup for Trifecta. I think the duo lane is going to be a real focal point for me, is how well Zapman Neil do up against Cherryo and Dardez.
I've really enjoyed the rise of FrostiaK. I got a chance to talk to Fellas on the desk, and he said taking a step away from the game for a while can kind of reset your brain. And FrostiaK has routinely been ridiculously spotty, and here he's been anything but. I've loved the consistency.
Both these teams have played consistently all week, and with that you can see some adjustments in terms of the map. A lot of Ares so far from Mouse, or at least I should say from Ares Walker, I should say, from Rival. But it's not going to be in the solo lane, it's going to be in the duo lane for Cherryo this time. I do like the wall coverage in the jungle around that red buff, though, on Trifecta's side. We've seen a couple of invades out of Europe. Not necessarily mousesports, though.
No, but just when you see other European teams do it, you know that's who they're practicing against, so there's some potential for that to happen. Trifecta cover their own bases. And you're right, I mean, normally we see this Ares up against Terra in the solo lane, which is crazy to say, because that's what we have normally seen so far this week. But I guess Nika just doesn't feel comfortable enough in that matchup. But the overall idea is still there, is that in the late game, Ares can really make Terra struggle in these fights. It's also great against Humbats. Ardeo can be very good against Xbalanque. So I still like the pick, even though it isn't in its counter matchup that we've seen so far this week.
I mean, the Ares solo is definitely highly advanced. It's really difficult to pull off. Sobek is perfectly fine. I'm not offended at all by the Sobek pick, and I think that Nika's going to be able to transition into team fights well on his own.
Critical game for both these two teams. If you've not been watching all week, all you need to know is whoever wins this best of 3 is going to DreamHack Atlanta. Loser, well, they're going to be watching from home. And this is just more telling than anything else with these two teams. These are both teams that have a shot.
They really do. And I predicted Trifecta going into this tournament, but I was saying that Mouse is the one that can really be that team to sneak in. I think that Mouse probably came into this a little bit more favored than Trifecta in a lot of ways, but Trifecta just came out looking so strong in that mid-jungle.
At the same time, I've really enjoyed watching the pressure from Trifecta. Cherryo's in trouble. First blood going to Zapman.
Nice little start for him on the Xbalanque too. Obviously, it's not the old school Xbalanque you may have seen. Passive has been slightly changed, so now it's all about damage. But hey, killed still give gold.
But that's all about Ardeo for me. Ardeo has just been so good at setting up in the duo lane. She gets you those guaranteed routes every single time if you're not playing some sort of mobility in that Guardian role. And normally you'll see it with ability-based hunters. Cupid or AMC, someone who can really guarantee the burst off of that route. But Xbalanque hits pretty darn hard in his own right, even without being that traditional ability hunter.
Right-hand side, FrostiaK now looking towards Scary at this blue buff, and he will just sneakily take it away. Nice little play from him. Let's have a look back at that respawn first blood.
Watching this one go down, this is all about NeiruMah, as Aggro said. It starts off, Cherryo's a little bit low. He's been playing aggressive because he's Ares, and that's what he's got to do. But Trifecta just hit go. The Rising Jaguar comes in. He gets the last hit off of the damage from NeiruMah. It's all about the aggression from the dual lane.
That's all about the weakness of Ares in the early game, right? I mean, all you can do is throw a chain and hope for the best that it slows them down enough. On the peel away against an RTO, so awkward.
Especially with Horrific Emblem for Cherryo, because Horrific is so highly valued right now. It just does so much for you in these late game team fights and keeping your carry safe that he can't go sprint to keep himself safe.
Just needs to be a little bit careful there. Only at level 4 up against that Sonic Boom FrostiaK, which is available. He'll be fine for the time being, but already the jungle has a bit of a lead.
I think that first blood for Trifecta is so much more than the 500 gold that they get from it. Realistically, NeiruMah has been one of the standout players during the regular season and has not performed here at LAN. And Zapman is a veteran, and to say that he hasn't performed at LAN would be an understatement. I really haven't liked it. I think that's the type of play that really invigorates you and can get you back in the mindset.
Interesting with Trifecta here with Scary D in that solo lane too. Now normally, we understand the beads in certain matchups here, Aggro, but he's gone beads into the Sobek. It's not against an Ares here. Is this because he thought it was Ares?
No, he knew it wasn't going to be Ares. It's about what he wants at level 12 is going to be Blink, because Blink Terra has been so popular, and he can't really get Blink at level 1 and have it be very useful. Beads are just worth more to him right at this point.
Love what we saw out of FrostiaK there. He just checked his corner first of all to make sure the monkey wasn't walking around there. Then he strips away the speed buff. Already FrostiaK having a pretty good time of things in the jungle against Sam.
Yeah, Mercury hasn't even finished off the Golden Blade yet, and he's still here looking for the invades, about a half a level above Sam for Soccer. It's only going to get worse once he finishes off that Golden Blade. So Sammy's really got to prioritize his own jungle, make sure he's hitting those timers. It's fundamental. It's jungle 101, but you've got to do it at this level.
Especially with Hunbats versus Mercury. Mercury's so quick clearing these camps. As you mentioned, it's only getting worse once FrostiaK gets that Golden Blade. But Hunbats is so good at controlling these team fights. He does pretty good damage in the mid to late game, but his weakness is that his early game clear is really, really weak. Even with just 2 points in overhand smash, it just doesn't do enough.
Bit of pressure actually on this left-hand side now. You can just see the grouping of Mouse around their own purple and red. And Trifecta are also moving in that direction, but without Paul being around the Freya, not going to be available.
FrostiaK getting the invade on Sam for Soccer is obviously a boon for mousesports, but with the character that Sam's got, it's not the biggest deal. You're not sitting here on a Mercury, for example, or a character that needs a ton of farm.
Fear no evil, right?
Exactly. Fear no evil does the same thing, level 5. That's all he cares about. It's binary. Either you got the ultimate or you don't. So if you're a half a level behind, a level down, I'm not that concerned when you're playing the Hunbats.
Actually, looking at the build so far, I'm interested to see the fact that we've got the Book of Tough Rush from Paul, whereas BigManTingz going for the mobility here.
And that's one thing that I think Trifecta should really notice and try and play around. And I think BigManTingz is going for boots because FrostiaK wants to play aggressive in the jungle. That'll require some rotations coming out of his mid laner. Whereas Paul wants to be a little bit more sedentary. Sit in lane, get his stacks up as soon as possible, and just get to that later game that Freya provides. Remember, BigManTingz is helping the team just by playing Discordia, because Discordia passive is so good.
Merc's going to ult from down all the way down a lane and usually go a little bit.
He's doing it now! Oh, but Zap saw it coming! Cherryo's on the rotation too, but beats it down. So's the Jaguar. Zapman escapes, but it costs him his ultimate.
Really good awareness there by Zapman. You have a fraction of a second where that little preview line from Sonic Boom ends up coming down your lane. Zap looking on point today. His purification beads were quick on the first blood off the persistent gust to keep him on the ground, make sure he didn't get knocked up, to secure that first blood on the Cherryo. And right there, uses the dash before he gets hit, and then a quick purification beads means that Cherryo can't ultimately catch him.
Night and day from what we've seen so far up in this tournament. The dual lane from Trifecta left a lot to be desired.
NeiruMah going to get aggressive, but Cherryo's chains will slow them down. Paul with the whoop around the back comes Sam for Soccer. Cherryo's got his ultimate, but no time to get it off.
Sam for Soccer with just a beautiful rotation. The pathing was great. NeiruMah's in a little bit of trouble.
He's going to go down.
He's going to give his life. It's a 1-for-1, but Sammy gets it. Support for support, and he puts the Ares down. That's important.
Scary makes the rotation as well, and Nika's pretty low without an ultimate. It's just the fact that Paul and Sam are far and without their own ultimates. Makes it difficult, but BigManTingz has got to respect Paul. Not a lot of mid laners will be very aggressive on you in Europe. They really want to play for those team fights. Paul is as aggressive as it gets in that mid lane.
While this is going on as well, you see the pressure on the left-hand side that developer Zapman there. He just strips away the purple buff as well, so trying to keep this experience lead going for himself. It's not much of one, I will say, but at least it's something. Jingwei versus Jablonke too.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup on the individual level, but again, on the team level, you ask a lot of people here, I was hearing a lot of 70-30 mousesports, 60-40 mousesports, and I think that's with the understanding that it's been the Paul and Sam show. If Trifecta's dual lane is going to be able to function on all cylinders, all of a sudden Trifecta becomes a much scarier team.
Also, Trifecta's playstyle is very unique to them, and they do well in NA, but not as well as I think they could do on international play, just because teams in NA are so used to playing against Trifecta's playstyle. I don't know that Mouse is ready to get hit in the mouth as hard as Trifecta.
Sonic boom! Just off the mark again. Zap slips the net. NeiruMah, though, may have been in a bit of a gank himself at the same time, so a bit of a wash there between the two. And I do want to bring up this Jablonke because it's mainly been North America that have been running this Jablonke consistently. And the Darkest of Nights is another really good ultimate for this composition.
You know, it's been North America, but it's the minor leaguers. It was been BenQ.
Well, Cyclone ran it as well early in the season, Splice, right?
Yeah, that's very true. Splice haven't been in this tournament, so it's only the minor leaguers that have been bringing it out. Cyclone Spin's in a world of his own, so it's been very interesting watching kind of the major leaguers take that approach.
Barra played it yesterday as well. It's just something that
it's been developed, right?
In the current meta, you will be 5-on-5 team fighting for the game. It is so hard to win the game in laning phase right now.
Here we go. The monkey toss from Sam wasn't really on point there. Unfortunately, jumped to a minion and not Cherryo, but Cherryo whipped to the sky. Burst after the fact is pretty good, but no escape for NeiruMah now. FrostiaK with the backup, and Freya can't bring him down. Cherryo credited with a kill, but it was a good play.
Beautiful punish there coming out from mousesports. Cherryo had a great pull, forces the ultimate out of Paul, and then takes down the support.
And Purification beats used by both Sam and Paul in the midst of that fight means this is a big window now for Mouse. As soon as that no escape comes back up, Cherryo should be looking to play aggressive.
So now Sam FrostiaK here, he's got his beads burned, but he's got to be looking at the other side now. I know that Hunbats can be a little bit passive, and I said that was okay, but there's a limit to that. He's got to look for at least some sort of play. Is it too dangerous with the beads down?
No, I think that because as long as he's the initiator, you get Ares in that CC chain. The idea is that you kill him before he ever gets the chance to use no escape, or at least he gets low while the CC chain is going on. No escape takes time to go off, so you can kill him during that moment where he's very, very vulnerable. But these tank boots from Cherryo are going to make that a lot more difficult. Fear No Evil is a lot of little ticks of damage that stack up those Guardian boots very, very quickly and give Cherryo a lot of protections.
The Hunter and Terra are going to do the same thing. 21 easy prots. I love the Tims. I think reinforced Greaves are really, really important.
2 for 2 then as it stands at the moment. That gold lead that was once Trifecta's thanks to the First Blood doesn't really make much of a difference as it stands. Both junglers, though, on this right-hand side here, vying for position for the blue buff that has just spawned on this side of the map.
FrostiaK's been here a number of times. Now he's looking for the fight. There's the Terra ult and the Jablonke. Not going to come through just yet. Ultimate's still on cooldown, but Sammy's looking for FrostiaK.
There's enough damage on an overhand smash to bring him down.
Look, Sam misses the ultimate, whiffs on it completely, and still plays aggressive. Love that.
Sam FrostiaK, though, and the boys of Trifecta trying to get even more aggressive with the blue buff. The apple a day. They bounced off the wall and still did the job it was required of. Sam will fall. A bit of overextension there from Trifecta. Meanwhile, mid lane.
Paul's looking for Cherryo, trades out the ultimate. Doesn't have the damage for that one so far.
That is a perfect trade for Cherryo to take. You absolutely trade no escape for Valkyrie's Discretion any day of the week. And as I was saying, I love Sam's aggressiveness on the right-hand side, understands just how much damage he will do with that character, but then the blue buff invade seems a bit greedy.
Nice play from NeiruMah there. Bit awkward from Cherryo actually in that skirmish. Gets one chain off, but then just switches to flame straight away. Doesn't go for the additional damage or the chains that would slow him down.
Zap is really controlling this left-hand side now. I mean, another purple buff invade for him. He's already got the Transcendence stacking, and while Dardez is also stacking that Devourer's Gauntlets, the stacks on Transcendence are worth less to you than those Devo Glove stacks for Dardez. Zap already has his big power spike just by finishing the Transcendence, Dardez really needs to get at least halfway done with these Devo gloves before he can feel like he can win these trades.
So tier 1 tower does fall on the right-hand side in favor of mousesports now, which means do we see Sobek rotate around the map a little bit more and use this pressure he's got?
I expect so. I think Nika really needs to get involved here from the solo lane. He's got a big boon here at level 12. Now he's level 13 with the additional relic. He's going to look to shut down the healing that Ardio's doing over here. Like I said, Trifecta's dual lane has really stepped it up here in this game particularly, and Nika's absolutely taking note, and he's going to look to shut down NeiruMah.
I very much like this Cursed Ankh. It's great against the Ardio. It's fantastic against the Terra in particular. Earth and Fury is a team fight winner basically every time it's used. Cursed Ankh takes that strength of Trifecta's draft and turns it into a semi-weakness.
Gold Fury going to get pulled by mousesports. NeiruMah knows about this because of a ward, but the trap has been set. However, the escape from NeiruMah has been pretty solid.
A lot.
No escape will pull him back in, but no backup from Mouse. The objective there was to reset the situation.
That was an early ultimate from BigManTingz. It did the job, but I think that if they had waited, they might have even been able to get a kill as one of the carries shaded over. He hits NeiruMah, doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
They don't even look at the gold.
It seemed a little bit split, right? Like they were like half in, half out.
Dardez was backing up. He didn't really want to get in on that. BigManTingz obviously is hitting the go button. That was definitely a lot to invest on the NeiruMah, and I think that's the right call by Mouse to back up in that situation. It would have taken both of those ultimates and some significant other cooldowns in order to actually kill Neil from that position. Oni Hunter's Garb is a really good item. So that would have bought enough time for the rest of Trifecta to get there and potentially clean up.
Big point to bring up is that mousesports didn't look like they were on the same page, and they've won off of being on the same page. That's a little bit cautious if I'm a fan.
Well, Zapman just stripped away the purple again from Dardez as the grouping from Mouse was to defend the red buff. But now there's a big grouping around this Gold Fury. Hear that clap? That's FrostiaK channeling that Sonic Boom as Sam gets Dardez's airstriking defense there. Good ult from him to get away.
Neil could still be in some danger, taking some serious poke from Cherry, but Scary D's the one who gets rooted. Luckily for Trifecta, that's their tanking front line, but look at the difference between Nika and Scary in levels so far. Level 15 for Nika, significant lead in his just base protections.
Solo lane has certainly gone the way of mousesports, but it seems like everywhere else is kind of leaning in the way of Trifecta. I know that BigManTingz has half a level, maybe a full level on Paul, but I'm not too concerned. Paul's still able to do it within that level gap.
Speaking of Paul as well, keep an eye on that build coming through. Looks like it's going to be a Polynomicon next. Kind of a standard build for Freya, right?
It is, but I really do think he could have gone for something like a Demonic Grip in this position because you know that Cherryo's going Magical Protection early on. Your job as Paul is to kill Ares off of the Fear No Evil, and with Polynomicon, I just don't know that he has enough pen in order to get that done before No Escape can be completed.
At the same time, his opposition in that lane, BigManTingz and the Discordia, more anti-heal here, the Divine Ruin. Discordia seems awkward, but she's really good at actually applying that passive.
Yeah, Unruly Magic is I mean, you're going to hit everybody in the team fight.
And maybe some more.
And Strife, you're particularly looking to hit multiple players, right? The whole gimmick of the apple is to watch it spread. It's a great character to make use of this item.
Here we go again, though. Mouse go back to the Gold Fury. No wards this time for Trifecta, but they've got some position. Go look on NeiruMah. Chain off the mark from Cherryo, however. And there's a Sonic Boom to the back line from FrostiaK. Dardez takes down NeiruMah, but FrostiaK overextended and Zap gets a kill.
NeiruMah's down, but FrostiaK might have the bigger impact in this fight. Trifecta buying in. Sam for Soccer hits the ultimate, and he takes down Nika. Bad damage on a BigManTingz. He's forced out.
Still Trifecta on the march forward, and Zap will jump. You are in. Looking for this fight. Sam looking for the pressure, but Zap was forced of his Aegis. Overhead smash from Sam for Soccer, however, will secure a third kill for Trifecta.
Way too much investment onto NeiruMah again by Mouse. It takes a lot of ultimates in order to kill that support, and he's still able to get some relevant damage off. He still gets Horrific Emblem off, and the rest of Mouse is left to deal with a pretty healthy Trifecta.
Oh, Dardez might be able to get a kill. The crit at the end was good enough. The whip too late from Paul. And Trifecta, who were trying to abuse the situation and get that Gold Fury, end up getting punished.
So that looks like really weird positioning from Zapman, but what he's trying to do with Paul is trade the Gold Fury off so that neither of them are taking any damage from it. You pass it back and forth, but usually you let the person who's healthier have the worst position in that spot. Now, Zap does have a dash, which
right?
Freya does not, but if you're within insta-kill threshold from Jingwei, maybe that's not the call for you.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Mistakes aren't just black and white. They live in this world of gray area. That's an oversight, not a mistake. I'm not offended by that play coming out from Trifecta. But again, you talk about the little things that you see in a game that give you a good or a bad feeling about the bigger picture. Trifecta coming through with the Akimbo SMGs, just foot on the gas pedal and going aggressive. That's what Trifecta needs to do if they're going to win against this Mouse team, and I like to play what I'm seeing so far.
6-5 approaching 18 minutes in. No Gold Furies down just yet, but plenty of action between the two. When you think about how this game's gone so far, Trifecta are in kill lead and got the first blood. No Gold Furies, as I said, so how is Mouse in the lead?
They farmed the map better, specifically on that right-hand side. FrostiaK has been doing pretty well, but Sam has been able to stay ahead of him pretty consistently throughout this game. It's been the level lead for Nika. Dardez has been able to defend his buffs more often than I thought initially. I think the one purple buff we saw invade by Zapman, it was a lone instance more so than a recurring theme, because Dardez has put himself pretty far ahead at this point.
In that team fight, Tom, was that a mistake from FrostiaK? They're going so deep with that Sonic Boom to the backline. Like, he ended up getting himself so isolated.
That's what Mercuries do. I think they do find themselves isolated. Mercuries are going to win the 1v1 most of the time, if not all of the time. And when you watch that go down, I think it was just a better play by Trifecta. Zapman was all the way up, and he peels back to make sure they get the 2-on-1. Merc can win the 1v1. The 1v2, not so much.
In my mind, I think the Gibalanke ultimate did a lot of work there to continue to isolate FrostiaK.
Even I forget about
that team fight. It's so hard to play around, and as we've said, it's really been NA who's been playing a lot of Gibalanke. How much X-Ball has Europe really practiced against in the last few weeks as preparation for this event? It is an ultimate that takes a lot of preparation to be able to play through.
It's also the same situation of, like, even as spectators, as we watch this game live, it's hard for it to really feel, unless you've played the game, how much of an influence that Darkest of Nights makes.
This Mouse team also has some shifts really late in the season. Cherryo in the support role. He's always had that support mindset, but playing this role specifically, listen, he said it himself. Sometimes in team fights, he doesn't really know what's going on. Well, what happens when you turn off the lights and scream in the player's ear? It's even worse.
Messes up the comms for sure, that's for sure. Nobody really knows what's going on exactly until it's almost too late.
This upgraded horrific emblem from Cherryo, though, I really like. This is an item that is just absurd. The upgraded version. No sprint
on Trifecta, right?
No sprint on Trifecta is exactly right, and they don't have the slow immunity that, say, FrostiaK has with that maximum velocity. That extra highlighted yellow text there with the upgrade reduced their damage dealt by 20%. You can't beat that. You can't do anything about that. It is 5 seconds where you just do 20% less damage.
Now, of course, that's strong against virtually any character. Specifically, though, I'm looking at Terra, I'm looking at Freya. These are gods that are hard to control by way of relics, and I think that's a great choice.
Well, back to the Gold Fury go. This time Trifecta, the ones that are going to initiate, but Mouse are well aware of it. Chains down by Cherryo. Gold Fury still about half health here. BigManTingz and Nika a little bit late on this rotation so far, as now Sam for Soccer approaches too. Gold Fury's reset, but in goes NeiruMah.
He's going to get a double stun so far. Gold Fury just abandoned. Trifecta trying to protect their support, but Sam up on top, isolating the mid laner. He's going to get controlled by FrostiaK, but the kill goes his way anyway. Trade it out. Jungle for mid.
Paul and Dardez trade out ultimates too, as Dardez slips the net on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Nika and FrostiaK end up watching BigManTingz fall down there. I don't know how he got left alone so long.
He really wasn't that alone for that long. Sam was just able to thread the needle and really find that last little basic, but Scary should have been there earlier to assist Sam. His Blink, Earth, and Fury was a little bit too late. I think that would have saved Sam's life, and that could have been a Gold Fury for Trifecta.
Mouse was still there. Their presence dissuaded Trifecta from looking for it. Both of these teams are more than willing to play aggressive, and we've seen that so far. So Trifecta internalized that, and they're aware.
That cripple field just shut down Nika in time. The pluck may have been good, may have got zap speeds, but denied by NeiruMah.
We'll never know, because Cripple Field is a good ability that makes it so that you're not going anywhere around that Sobek or anything about it. Don't forget, by the way, this also decreases their power as they're in that area. This ability is insane.
I never thought. I think Cripple's good enough in my eyes, but you know, I'm no designer. Nika's back though. Yet
25% whenever it's maxed.
This left-hand side, he's only level 18, doing a great job of farming. Talk about farming. Remember how Zap consistently managed to get the purple buffs on the left-hand side? Well, it's Dardez with the experience lead right now.
I mean, Dardez here, he's playing the Jingwei. I think
That's
you've
true,
got to
that's true.
expect
Yeah,
that he's
you're
going
right.
to be able to get those back camps a little bit more efficiently. NeiruMah coming out of the base here. The Gold Fury attacked up by mousesports. But again, everybody is here. I mean, this is... Come on, guys. Nobody's getting away with a free Gold Fury this game.
Well, that's what I'm looking at now. Is it time to do a bit of a rope-a-dope, send a couple of members to gold, and then go do pyro, maybe? Like, that's what we've seen before.
We could, but I think Gold Fury, both these teams want a team fight because they both have great team fighting things about their draft. I mean, Earth and Fury isn't going to get a lot of value unless it's a 5-on-5. Fear No Evil is really great in these 5-on-5s. But at the same time, Mouse has these great frontliners of Sobek and Ares that can take a lot of punishment and still deal out a lot of their own.
FrostiaK's actively looking for these team fights. Look at his itemization. He's got a Rage and a Height of the Urchin. He said, all right, we need to fight them. That's how I get stronger.
Gold Fury started up again. Scaredy well aware of the situation. NeiruMah a little bit far forward here, but he is a tanky beast after all. Keeping an answer for soccer. He's thinking about going around the back as the Dockers and Knights. Cherryo's getting bursted down after the no escape. Mouse couldn't see anything until the Fear No Evil came through. Paul takes out Cherryo. Sam takes out Dardez, but at least FrostiaK got to the back line.
It's a 2-for-1 so far. Trifecta win the team fight. Nika on the run. Scary D blinks forward. NeiruMah blinks forward. Nika's going to be controlled, rooted, and booted. Sam for soccer 2. That's going to be double digits for Trifecta. They've taken 3 players down, and they're walking directly to the Gold Fury.
FrostiaK still lurking, and just one major look, if he gets a crit off of it, could be enough to really throw a wrench in Trifecta's plans.
Why is he so healthy? Why is he so healthy?
He healed
He
off
should
the
have been more
buff. He
involved.
healed off the major.
He got it!
Get it! FrostiaK did exactly what Aggro said he could. Big play for him to turn up, and nobody on Trifecta knew he was still behind. He healed off the camps. That's why he was so healthy.
That's huge. That is gigantic. The teams have been fighting over this one. It's the first time we see an actual tangible lead 24 minutes in. These teams have been neck and neck. 2,000 gold. Not the most gigantic lead, but it's a start, and it's the first one we've seen.
I don't know how much FrostiaK really needed to heal off that camp
That's
because he was so healthy in that fight because all he did was wait until everyone from Trifecta had focused their abilities, and then he got into the back line with that Sonic Boom and one-shot Paul. Paul had a really nice whoop, but a quick beat from FrostiaK got him back on top of him. And then from there, with Paul dead, Trifecta just doesn't have the secure to guarantee that Gold Fury.
My question, though, is did he do his job? Anytime I see the last man standing with full HP, full mana, I'm going, what did you do in the team fight?
He couldn't see.
Taking down the Freya is a big deal, but could he have done more?
Look at the relic selection for Trifecta. 3 blinks. So their game plan is just to gas pedal.
Yeah.
They are smorking you down from the very beginning of these team fights. And so FrostiaK can't really do a lot more than wait until all of Trifecta surges forward and then get past them, bypass that front line of defense and get to Paul. Paul's job now has got to be to move forward as a unit, which is very counterintuitive as a mage, but otherwise that exact same story is going to keep happening.
Well, Mouse has showed a couple of weaknesses so far, in all honesty. We've seen BigManTingz get focused on the back line with the dives in from Trifecta, and then the front line, who is aggressive with the Sobek, with the Ares that are playing front line. No one's peeling the back. But second of all, the Darkest of Knights is actually denying denying mousesports when trying to do what the comp's designed for.
Love this decision by Trifecta. Who cares about the Pyro? Tier 1, I think, is important. Plus a Tier 2. Zapman's not going to stay away from this one.
He's going to get it.
I think that's the better play. Mouse don't have the opportunity to look for Fire Giant here. Mouse is lucky that Nika TP'd.
Well, it's not necessarily lucky. I'm not so sure here, because now the TP's down. It could be a sign that, well, the Sobek's on the left-hand side. We can get aggressive around the Fire Giant.
But without Zap there, he is a lot of Trifecta's damage. Look at the player damage charts. He's top of the team at this point. Zap's had a pretty solid game so far in the Xbalanque. He can affect the team fight with a global ultimate still, so if Trifecta were to have gone aggressive on that right-hand side, it could have worked, but I don't blame him for being a little bit more reserved.
All signs at the moment, though, pointing towards, well, Trifecta being in a power position for one aspect, but the gold lead is still in Mouse's pocket.
Yeah, now at about 3,000, and it's going to inch forward. The Pyromancer, like I said, not a giant deal, but as these little things add up, Trifecta have to keep that in mind. So I like their split push on the left side. No reason to lose your hat over a single Pyromancer, but as these objectives get larger and as they become more numerous, well, then you got to start to double think it.
Next thing I'm watching for now is Mouse have a lot of crit on their builds now. Deathbringer for both the Mercury and the Jingwei to go along with the other crit items they've already got. No Thorns, lack of defense maybe? Are we worried about this?
Especially with the Terra, you know she's going Soul Reaver. That's what every Terra solo has done all week, so you definitely have at least one more tank that isn't going to be super tanky to you. I think a Spectral Armor is what the doctor ordered for both Neil and Scary.
Teams right now jockeying for position around this Fire Giant. mousesports seem to have a situation. NeiruMah half HP. Cherryo goes the ultimate. Gets too pulled. And Zapman's going to be okay. No collapse by mousesports.
Meanwhile, on the backside, the Fear Weevil from FrostiaK caused so many problems. Cherryo still alive, however. Fire Giant wasn't leashed for a second. I thought it was. But Scary needs 2 more chains from Cherryo as Cherryo backs away.
Oh.
Sonic boom to the backline from Frosty, though. The assassin is here to try and clean up.
Trifecta looking to turn things around. Paul from the sky puts Cherryo in the ground. Zapman cleaned up by the solo Sobek. And Paul finds refuge under the tier 1 tower. Sam for soccer relatively low, jumps away. Paul's not out of the woods. The tier 2 falls down. He gets plucked and destroyed. 3 players dead on Trifecta.
Trifecta just takes too much damage off the front side. Neil walks into that fight, half HP, blinks back in. Mouse had invested so little up until that point. Sam again does insane work on the backside of that fight, but he's not working in tandem with Scary. Sam going in by himself. He and Scary need to be coordinating these blinks much better than they are, because Earth and Fury is going to insta-pop with Fear No Evil damage. Even if you beads, you need to be beads Aegising every single blink, and that'll get your carries killed in the subsequent fight. But these two aren't working together well enough to make that a real threat against Mouse.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but Zapman did get pulled by that no escape, right?
Yes.
And then straight after, ults and then Rising Jaguar was away. Why did he let himself get pulled? He's got a Rising Jaguar. I mean, was he just trying to get in range or something? I'm so confused.
Because he doesn't want to lose the Purification beads, and honestly, at this level of play, no one's expecting you to get pulled by
Exactly,
Ares.
yeah.
So they're not actually going to use their cooldowns on you until afterwards, and Cherryo's chains were already down, so he knows he'll be able to dash after the fact.
I love the fact that Zapman actually got pulled. He didn't use his relics. Everybody from Mouse, and he has the communication. His teammates are up there looking at the Fire Giant pit. Cherryo is down here almost near the mid-Harpies. The rest of Mouse is on the top end. Zapman gets the communication. He goes, I'm getting pulled. His team says they're not able to collapse. He gets pulled. He saves his relics for later. That's really smart relic usage, or lack thereof. That's a slam dunk.
Well, now 4 members of Mouse have the Fire Giant. Only Cherryo fell in that engagement. There's only 2 tier 2 towers remaining of Trifectas and a tier 1 in the mid lane. No defense coming out here from Trifecta so far. However, we've seen Trifecta in this position before with the Phoenixes down, and is their comp good enough to defend?
In theory, yes, but I need to see Sam and Scary blink on the same targets at the same time. It is a really easy abilities. They're 2 easy abilities to hit a lot of people with. Especially Earth and Fury. Scary's just been late into these engagements.
I think we're going to see the execution here under the Phoenixes, because the player is going to come to you to drop Earth and Fury and the Hunbat's ultimate at the same time. I think that's realistically a little bit easier to execute while you're being aggressed on. So I think we'll see that there. Yes, I'm with you. They have a strategy, they have a plan, and they just haven't been able to actually do it. We'll see it on the defensive end, but if Trifecta want to win this, they can't just win it on the defensive. They have to have an aggressive play.
Well, we've definitely seen the ups and downs of both these 2 teams, how their season has been realistically in this game 1. Obviously, it's a best of 3, but game 1 in the best of 3, we always talk about, is game 2 more important than the best of 5? Sure, but in a game 3 game set, game 1 is really telling.
I still think game 2 is the place that you have to really be worried
Really?
about. Oh, FrostiaK used that Sonic Boom right away, but
They got Paul's ult.
doesn't find anything in terms of damage. Getting Valkyrie's Discretion is a heavy win for mousesports.
I'm with you, Aggro. I think that game 2 is really important. Game number 1 is...
But you want to wave if you win game 1, right? Like, all the pressure's on the other team. They've got to do 2 back-to-back. You play 2 best of 1s and you win 1 of them, you still go, right?
That's very true. Competitors' mindset, though, having your back against the wall can sometimes reinvigorate the squad. I think it's important how you lose game number 1. If you lose a game like this, it's totally fine. Game 2, though, that really dictates the whole feel of the set.
Well, this game's not done just yet. mousesports now grouping up on this left-hand Phoenix. Keep an eye on Nika and Cherryo. Chains on NeiruMah as he tries to clear out some of those creeps. Paul's going to sit so far back without his ultimate for a few more seconds. It could be awkward.
Sam for soccer. Not going to be able to teleport to the monkey.
He was thinking about it, wasn't
He really was, and I'm glad he didn't. he would have isolated himself a little bit too far away from the rest of his team.
But look at how much damage Scary took there from BigManTingz and the rest of mousesports. This Soul Reaver isn't giving him enough protection to be able to withstand it. He's got no health in the build whatsoever. He really needs more physical defense in my mind, though. I mean, honestly, only 128 in magical defense isn't very much either. BigManTingz is going to be doing nearly true damage to him. I really feel like the Soul Reaver is really good when you're playing aggressive, but right now Trifecta is letting their tanks get poked out, and then they aren't healthy enough to feel comfortable blinking into the middle of the enemy team.
But I mean, well, I used to be a raid leader, right? And what I used to say to my raid when they died was, you're dead because you didn't do enough DPS, right? So if you can do the DPS and kill them, like this Terror build should, in theory, right? Then you're going to be okay.
I used to be a raid leader too, and what I used to say was you do 0 DPS while dead. So if you're able to stay alive, the Soul Reaver, that's percent, baby. You're going to be able to do Soul Reaver if you are alive. How much damage does a Soul Reaver do when you're sitting in the fountain looking at a black and white screen? The answer is 0. I need to see a little bit more health, a little bit more survivability. I mean, obviously we're going to say goodbye to the Guardian blessing, and it's just... If you're not alive, you're not doing it.
Should be Mantle. Mantle of Discord. It's no health. You're still low in the HP department, but it's all prots. It gives you some more CDR. It gives you a great passive when you're blinking into the enemy team. I think Mantle is what Scary should go for.
Is the Void Stone a problem?
No, I think that there is an argument to sell the Void Stone and get something like Spectral Armor to stop these crits from coming and really destroying you because of the double Deathbringer on the enemy team. But yeah. It's still not horrible. Check out this last item, though, from Dardez, a Runeforged Hammer. Whew. So this is spicy, but anything that his supports are doing to the enemy team is going to slow or cripple or anything like that. He's just doing more damage to them. As long as Dardez is hitting whoever his tanks are CCing for him, he'll do a ton of damage.
It's like a reverse Stone of Binding, right?
Yeah, a little bit like that.
Mid lane also has control there. I mean, Discordia is going to be strifing players, going to be hitting them with the apple cripple. Big deal right there. Yeah, I'm still looking at Scary D. He needs to survive these team fights.
Well, Fire Giant round mouse waste again during all this because they couldn't really siege a Phoenix last time round, but now they're looking at the right-hand side. FrostiaK keeping Sam for soccer and checking the mid lane. Both these junglers important, but BigManTingz got a big spike of damage to him there.
What blew him up?
It was Polynomicon proc from Paul. Someone has got to step in and take that for Paul. You have to, as Cherryo or Nika, you have to step in front and take that damage. That'll subdue this push for at least a minion wave while BigManTingz just sustains up with that Fire Giant.
And that's all the team needs to do right now. This is stall. They have Fire Giant stall the game out. That's how you're going to find the defensive stop here.
Here we go again then, right-hand side, Nika Cherryo leading the charge. Chain off the marks, the burst from Paul hits Cherryo that time, so doesn't do much, but Scary D's gonna get pulled in. Cancel that, the apple hits Paul, but Paul goes to the sky at the same time, brings down Nika. FrostiaK got to the back, but he's already dead. Scary D gets credit for the kill.
Patience is a virtue, and Trifecta are looking like saints. 5 players alive because Sam for Soccer waits till the latter part of the team fight to drop the totem, because Paul waits until after he's engaged on to go up and finish off Nika. Trifecta got that by being patient, and I love it because they have not been patient all game, and that's been letting them contend. Here, they shift gears, and they find the defensive stop.
The same problem that has plagued Trifecta in a lot of these team fights just bit mousesports there, and that's the front line took too much damage before the fight really even got started. Nika has to use Lurking in the Waters defensively, and he's already at 30% HP, and it's an easy cleanup for Trifecta.
Well, this is the issue with Mouse's comp on the aggressive at the Phoenix Siege. If you look at it, it really is Sobek manually walking in and looking for a pluck, or Ares manually walking in and looking for a pluck. No blinks on either one of those. Only member of Mouse with a blink here is the Mercury.
I also think that the lack of Magi's cloaks on the side of mousesports is really suspect, because there's two schools of thought whenever a team is fairly hard CC like Trifecta is that we don't really need the Magi's because we won't be getting hit by that much hard CC. But at the same time, Trifecta is relying so heavily on Fear No Evil hitting these tanks, and if you have a Magi's bubble, then it's going to be hard to pop that unless it's going to be the Fear No Evil that pops it, or the Banish. And both of those are great setup CCs. I think that Nika and Cherryo could really use some bubbles, and it would stop these Fear No Evils from completely changing every team fight.
We were talking about Trifecta needing to stall the game out. One of the reasons that they needed to stall the game out was because of Fire Giant. FG buff's going to fall off in about 35 seconds. That's all well and good. But Scary D now has the Mantle of Discord. And Mantle of Discord is a team fight changing item.
It is, and it gets you in the moments where you feel like you're dead, and then you're not. And everyone around you stunned. You get the mini Geb ult going for you, and it's this item is good, to say the least.
Doesn't surprise me, though, that we're approaching 40 minutes, and we couldn't tell you who's winning this game right now. Sure, on paper, Mouse have got a huge gold lead, but gold doesn't really matter at this stage. Experience lead doesn't really matter at this stage. Everyone's level 20. So this comes down to classic Smite in the late game. It's all about the 5-on-5.
Now, Dardez already has a weird 6th item, so Paul decides, let me get in on that action. A Witchblade as his 6th slot, as Nika nearly walked right into the mouse trap, but was able to escape. Witchblade is there for Paul just to make sure that FrostiaK doesn't insta-dome him as soon as he gets into the back, but I don't know that it really does the job.
It won't stop it.
It really won't stop it.
I don't think so either.
FrostiaK isn't hitting you 1,000,000 times for little points of damage. He's hitting you 3 times for 1,000,000 points of damage. It does give you health. It does give you attack speed and movement speed. Those are both relevant stats for Freya.
And cooldown.
But cooldown, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love it here for Paul.
This is I kind of like it. I think this is a nice hybrid item.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I think it's a nice hybrid item. He's if he really was just looking for anti-FrostiaK, then he goes Nemean or Midgardian Male. Right here, Paul understands that, hey, I still have to contribute to damage. Look at the damage numbers from Trifecta. It's all shared. Zapman's leading, but all of the other 3 players are around the same number. Paul has to contribute. He can't go full defensive item, so the Witchblade is a nice sort of in-between.
Well, the last Fire Giant, Trifecta didn't even bother to sniff their nose in the area, but this one, bit more confidence brewing on this Trifecta team. At the same time as that huge minion wave is in left.
Nika again gets poked out right away. Scary, though, returns the favor. Now, Scary's got a little bit more sustain than Nika does. He can drop a monolith and be A-okay, but as you mentioned, there's a massive wave on the left side, and Mouse is feeling pretty confident they can sit here and play around, as Scary doesn't actually go to clear.
He's not even going towards it. He might have to go straight back to the fight. He's got no teleport either. We mentioned that he went for the beads at the start. That Phoenix whittled to half health then. And honestly, the minion wave should just keep generally still pushing down this, right?
Nika, it should, but it'll take a little bit longer for it to fall.
Fire Giant now brought down to about 85%. Cherryo going to be isolated. Scary D brings him down to 40. There's the ultimate. Paul punishes the support player. Nika, on the other end, has help from the jungler. FrostiaK on the backside, but he's surrounded by 4. Scary D finds the blink. The monolith block and the quick finger blink from FrostiaK.
That was sick, but FrostiaK is so late to ult into all of these fights. He's waiting before Darkest of Nights, but that's enough time for Mouse to lose their front line every single one of these engagements.
Dardez trying to get into the pit now to try and defend this Fire Giant. Has his ultimate available, beads and Aegis too. But Scary D and Sam Pasaka just waiting in the wings there. This is the tale of the compositions over and over again, though. Every time I'm watching this, it's HRX and Sobek getting isolated because the team can't see, and then as soon as that happens, Frosty's ulting to try and make something happen, and he's in trouble too.
This is one of the oldest standing problems about playing HRX, is that when you go up into the power fist of the ultimate, you are so incredibly susceptible to just getting jumped on. That's one of the downsides of playing these weird offensive HRX builds. Here, Cherryo is 6-slotted defense, and he's still getting melted.
But here's the thing, though. Mouse's composition is fine. The HRX is fine. The issue is, it's the Jubelonke ults that are just denying so much vision from the quality backline that they've drafted to be able to do anything.
And again, it's not, yeah, you're right. There's nothing wrong on the side of that. It's Trifecta are just playing better.
Correct.
They're making sure that their target prioritization, as soon as Cherryo hits the button, he's the target.
And not only is this Jubelonke ultimate really disrupting what Mouse is doing, but it's also letting Zap stay so far away from everybody else. And as you mentioned, Cherryo is so vulnerable during that ultimate that Zap can stay that entire basic attack range away from him with that increase the Darkest Night give you, that he is unhittable during these fights, and he's still providing the DPS on Cherry.
Well, this time round, Trifecta on the offensive now. Only a tier 2 turn on the right-hand side remaining. They've got a decision about whether they want to siege or go for the tier 2 at the moment. It's looking like they're going to barrel down mid. Now it's time for Mouse to show that they have a composition that could be solid at defending as well.
Trifecta should be patient right here because beads are coming up in 5 seconds for Sam. Blink's coming up for him and Scary. They just needed this extra moment. Now they're ready to go.
Well, there's the lift onto Cherryo. It's going to bring him down to a little bit. Not enough damage. Trifecta certainly thinking about that one, so no full engage quite yet.
Yeah, relaxed atmosphere right now between the two, waiting for minion waves. FrostiaK, FrostiaK on the left-hand side, as you'd expect. We're just waiting for the go signal.
Relaxed? I don't know. I could cut the tension with a knife. Each minion that is walking in here is a threat for Trifecta to jump.
Scary D, yeah. Man. Those crits are so important. Scary just doesn't have enough physical defense.
Here we go again, though, looking for an engage. NeiruMah going to try and lead the charge in just on the edge of the tower line. No escape, though. NeiruMah's going for a ride under the tower. Darkest of Nights comes out. FrostiaK jumps on BigManTingz, who's all alone again. And FrostiaK comes up big for Mouse. They take down the mid laner. Trifecta, however, fall back and don't take too much.
Again, gotta be careful, gotta be patient. Scary D's the target, but he can't get blocked. No. He's got that passive. Trifecta now surging into this middle lane. Scary D's very low, but Zapman brings down the jungler.
But Scary D still falls. He dies to the Phoenix shots. The damage was just too much onto him without the help. However, there's still 4 men left for Trifecta. The middle Phoenix is under threat. It's going to go down. And for a second, I thought they might go for an end, but calm and calculated all away.
I loved the way this team fight broke down. This is one that I'm going to clip and do on the telestrator later. What happened was NeiruMah gets pulled because Cherryo lands the ultimate with fantastic positioning. He's further back. Paul surges forward, which makes the carry shift backwards because Paul's going to one-shot him. The carries couldn't attack NeiruMah, and Trifecta lived to see another day.
Trifecta not, maybe not. They're still getting sieged by Trifecta. They're not falling back to the base. Fear no evil from Mouse. From FrostiaK splits the difference, but Cherryo's left alone. Another kill for Trifecta. They get 2 Phoenixes and fall back.
Great patience, and Sam having that much CDR in the build, it makes it easy for them to just wait it out and use that ultimate once again. And Sam has just made BigManTingz' life impossible to live. But again, BigManTingz dies with Aegis. This isn't the first time that that's happened. Yeah. He has got to be a little bit better on that relic usage in the mid lane. It's something that we've talked about a lot with Dardez moving over. Using your relics as a carry is what separates you from being really, really good to world-class level. And BigManTingz has been pretty good with it this year. This game, I would say, in general, has been subpar.
I think that's credence to Sam FrostiaK and the ultimates. You're not able to use that Aegis when you're being crowd controlled, and just fantastic ideas from Sam. And really important, sometimes you get ahead of yourself. Sam has been the headline player. The fans are cheering his name. Everybody's going nuts. He's been the hard carry, and yet he still knows his role. There's a Freya and a Shibalanke on this team. His job is not to do damage. Build full CDR, drop the totem on cooldown. The party monkey is supposed to be a control jungler. That's what Sam FrostiaK is doing. I'm loving the fact that he's just playing his game.
This is just a classic composition from Europe, though, where they can leave the backline to peel for themselves. And if people can get to the backline, they get punished. And Mouse are having exactly the same issue time and time again, where the backline either can't get involved or are being picked while the frontline is not available. Fire Giant to Trifecta here, 2 for 2 in terms of those now, but only 1 Phoenix to look for.
What a classic Season 5 game here. Trifecta have waited, and now they might get baited.
This is the only thing they can really do here. I think Mouse Cherryo going to step forward. He's getting poked out nicely by Paul, but round the back comes Sam FrostiaK. Dardez is dead. Cherryo is dead. EU could crumble in game 1 now. The hopes of North America having more than maybe 1 team at Worlds could be here with this set.
Man, we talk a lot about how these teams approach things, and Trifecta just approached this like a bat out of hell. Fantastic positioning, fantastic pathing. That team fight brings everything together.
I don't hate the call from Mouse. They know that they can't take another fight underneath the Phoenix easily. FrostiaK gonna end up being killed instantly on the blink in. A deicide for Trifecta. They take game 1, and everyone owes Sam FrostiaK 2 a firm handshake. My man was the best player on the field in that game.
I never felt, as I looked at Trifecta there, that even if they were behind in terms of gold experience at any moment in time, I was never concerned that they were out of this game. I never felt like they were behind, really. In gold, maybe a little bit, but even with the Phoenixes down, they still seem comfortable.
Man, 10K down, over 10K down, and Trifecta was still able to get it done. It just feels like this team, they're looking a little bit like the NA rival with their defenses so far this week.
Certainly really interesting. You know, I make fun of you for calling them hoagies a lot. Some people call them Sammys. Today we're calling Sammy the hero. Fantastic job out of the jungler right now. His ability to just accept his role, play control, go full cooldown, and let everyone else do the damage. Gigantic for Trifecta.
I have never felt more English than that conversation they had about hoagies. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know where it came from. I really don't. I mean, I got there eventually, but we started somewhere different.
Game 1 goes the way of Trifecta. They're one game away from making worlds and eliminating Mouse. The desk is waiting to break it down.
And it's hard to think that they've been down 10K multiple times, Graham. This Trifecta team, somehow with their backs against the wall, they continuously find a way to fight back into it.
A great defense makes a better offense, and that's what Trifecta is doing consistently, dragging the game on for over 45 minutes. The Phoenix Sieges were too difficult, in my opinion, for mousesports because Nika didn't go for the blink.
Nah, Nika really was not able to get those initiations, and Cherryo was not really finding any value out of those ultimates. As we get into the post-game stats brought to you by Axis Replay here. I mean, you can look at the slash lines here. FrostiaK played lights out that set.
He absolutely did, and so often for Trifecta, Sam is the highlight player between him and Paul. I've been saying it all weekend, but for me, this comes down to some things for Mouse that just did not work towards the end of the game. And Totally, maybe you can tell me a little bit more about what you saw on him. FrostiaK, I felt like couldn't find his way into the fights, especially the later the game got to get off relevant damage. Like you said, there wasn't good follow up off Cherryo's no escapes either. I think Mouse had the right pieces; they just couldn't line them up.
There were two factors that mousesports couldn't really break. Number one was the damage coming through Paul, and number two was the engagements coming out of Cherryo. He was only hitting one target at a time. That right side Phoenix Siege, he only hit Scary D, and Scary D picked up the beat, so he was able to get on out of there. And then during yeah, that was an insane amount of damage. 3 items. He had Crusher against the Squishy Assassin. You're going to find the kill. And then also during the middle Phoenix Siege, when Cherryo found the ultimate onto NeiruMah, that's a tanky RDO, and all the cooldowns were already not available for BigManTingz.
Yeah, that's the thing, is every time that he's been pulling in even just these single tanks, there's no follow-up for it, or the damage that they throw out just isn't relevant enough. They just could not handle the siege coming out here from Trifecta. And not only that, Sam had beautiful flanks in every single one of these jungle fights. And I mean, this is how you play the assassin. You wait.
This is how you win the game, by the way.
Their mage is all alone by himself. Everybody just threw their cooldowns there. I'm just going to go kill him.
And it's not to bash on Cherryo. Trifecta did not make it easy for that Guardian or even on any Guardian to make an impact in the defense, in the offensive play because of FrostiaK's backline penetration.
And I do also want to say one more thing, because it was definitely Sam that was the star for this game, but something that is really, really good for Trifecta, and it just how it looked to me, Zap looked engaged, like in a way we haven't seen from him in a while. He was aggressive, dashing in, taking fights in the duo lane. When you've got Zapman playing kind of like old Zap, that was what, to me, makes this Trifecta team hard to beat.
What was good for him was the early game momentum he had. The first blood helped him out a little bit, and then more importantly, outside of the offensive plays, was him being able to escape the consistent ganks from FrostiaK on that global pressure, being able to dash away from the Sonic Boom repeatedly. He used the Purification Beads against a special delivery, because he wasn't shut down in a lot of those encounters. He was able to just keep on farming and really utilize the aggression combined with NeiruMah.
And for me, it was, from what it looked like, he was vocally engaged more than we've seen as well. I mean, he was talking a lot. And a lot of times you hear that from hunters, right? When they're feeling it, when they're in rhythm, they can kind of suddenly become the shot callers. They're saying, hey, let me go in. I got the damage.
This is the old 2013 PAX East version of Zapman, when he was still in Curse Gaming, when he was making these plays with the best in Shadowcube. Pon was right beside him, Sparks. He loved the Xbalanque then, and not much has changed 5 years later.
I mean, look at just the damage numbers he's putting up into these fights. I mean, FrostiaK stood no chance walking in there to begin with, but I agree completely there. Zapman coming in, being as confident as he is now, you can see how calm and collected he is there, but in those games, I mean, popping off there, that's a big matchup here for Trifecta that really helped them out.
And really, Sam was the important one here. And it's not just that he was playing well for me. It's that he had the right target selection. He was routinely making problems for Tingz, and there really was not much room for him to operate on Discordia. We kept saying it throughout the game. Even with the way Sam was harassing him, Tingz was like top in player damage, but he still wasn't quite able to do enough in those games because of the way they were constantly jumping back.
That's right. Paul's damage was just through the roof. The Polynomicon pickup was really solid, but more importantly was the Witchblade pickup at the very end of it. This is an old school build formerly brought to you by Bronx Bombers, a Denial Hunter from like Season 1, Season 2 that used to rush this item, first item in the Hunter role. And back then, it actually had physical protection, and it had the reverse effect of the Runic Shield that gave you anti-physical power. So might see this item picked up a little more often after that game.
Oh, it really made it work for him in the end game, because when you think about it, who are the two characters that really want to jump onto this Freya? It's going to be the Mercury and the Jing Wei that want to box into him. When you can reduce their attack speed, have a little bit more HP of your own as well, and more attack speed for yourself, it's a win-win for you.
Very cost effective, only at 2,050 gold.